These are the best routines for every time limit in Fortnite, and if you stay consistent with one of these routines, you will eventually go pro. The best Fortnite routine follows 4 crucial elements, and I'll cover all of them in this video to help you improve rapidly. There's also timestamps in the description. The first thing you need to realize is that ranked is a waste of time, and it's because of the way you play it. But ranked, if you play it well, is good practice when you use it properly. So that's why you need to switch up the way you play ranked. And you might be wondering, what is the best way to play ranked? And that's exactly what I'll tell you. But before I do, I need you to understand that ranked means nothing. No good player cares about your rank, and neither should you. Treat it like you're playing a creative map and you can just respawn. Obviously, still make sure that you're not doing stupid plays and taking bad peeks. The only way you should be playing ranked is by W keying everyone you see and trying to take 0 damage in fights. Obviously, you need to be active and applying pressure to your enemy. Don't just sit in a cone because I told you to take 0 damage in fights. When I say take 0 damage, I mean make good peeks pretty much. Now, if you want to go pro and you're good at the game, you should be landing at the best POI every single game in ranked, depending on what season you're playing. This season, the best POI is the raft. You'll improve so much quicker if you just play against good players. But if you really don't want to land there, then just make sure you're landing somewhere that isn't uncontested and somewhere that has at least good loot. But before you do ranked, you want to do some creative fighting practice. If you have bad mechanics or if you're new to the game, then do 1v1 build fights. This is because build fights usually require you to be more mechanical. If you have decent mechanics and you want to improve at competitive, then do 1v1 speed realistics. The most important thing is that you go against good players. Ideally someone better than you, but if you can't get someone better than you, then get someone who's at least around your skill level. You can find someone in a scrim server or even in my Discord server, which is linked in the description. And before you do creative fighting practice, you want to do mechanics training. So let's go over mechanics training. Mechanics training involves any practice methods that focus on the mechanical elements of Fortnite, like piece control, aim, building and editing. Mechanics training is a crucial part of your Fortnite routine, so it's important that it's done right. I'm going to give you a document that will have the best routines for every time limit, including the best mechanics training routines for every time limit, but towards the end of the video. But let me give you an example of an optimal mechanics training routine. First, go to Freebuild Mechanics Training, which is my Freebuild map. You can either type Blexiti in the creative search bar, or type Freebuild Mechanics Training or Speed Freebuild vs bots. On this map you'll have speed options, a build reset, and the map is optimized for lower delay. So go to this map, select a slow speed, either 0.6 times or 0.8 times, and freebuild on this speed for 5 minutes. Here you want to focus on your crosshair placement. Here is an example of good and bad crosshair placement if you don't know what good crosshair placement is. You can also practice the moves or edits you find difficult on this speed, as it will be a lot easier because you're slower. Focusing on your weaknesses is the key to improving faster than everyone else. After freebuilding on the slow speed, you want to go to the fast speed. On the fast speed, you're going to train your mechanical speed, as you'll obviously be faster. So try to do as many edits as possible without messing up. You'll probably mess up a lot at first, but if you stick with this routine, you'll start messing up less and less. Freebuild on this fast speed for 5 minutes. Then go to normal speed and freebuild normally for another 5 minutes. After this, you want to go to Raiders Mechanics Training V4 map. Then go to the piece control with target section. Do all 8 scenarios for 1 minute each, which is 8 minutes in total. Make sure to build in all the empty space and make protected right hand peaks on the bots. Then go to the piece control x peak training section and do this section for 7 minutes. Obviously make sure to make protected right hand peaks when you're going through these drills as well. You want to practice taking good peaks in creative to help improve your muscle memory, so you make good peaks in real games as well. Taking a bad peak is usually the reason most people die in fights, so it's really important you master peaks. But after this you want to do aim training. If you have bad mouse control, then do 30 minutes of Kovacs. If you don't have bad mouse control, or if you don't have Kovacs, then do aim duels for 30 minutes. And that's the end of the example routine. Like I said, I'll give you a document that has personalized routines for every time limit towards the end of the video. And this also has different warm-ups and mechanics training routines and everything like that. But you need to understand what makes a good routine first. With that being said, let's move on to the next element of your routine. And this is endgame practice. If you're looking to go pro and compete at the top level, then this is essential. I do think you need to know a few fundamentals first before adding scrims to your routine, just because it will be pointless if you don't have the fundamentals already in place. But this only really applies to new players. But if that's not you, then you need to be doing endgame practice. There are two ways to get endgame practice in. You can either play scrims or you can play creative endgame practice like Forever Zone Wars. Obviously, Forever Zone Wars is worse practice than scrims, but if you can only play for around an hour, then you should do Forever Zone Wars instead of scrims, as you'll get a lot more repetitions in. Also, when you play Forever Zone Wars, make sure to be looking around at all times and to have good awareness. But if you play scrims, then you want to be effective when playing them. So don't just sit and camp in a box. Look for damage and be active. Also, make sure to stay aware and think about all the decisions you make. Also, try to get into scrims with no zone rules just to make the scrim games even more realistic and effective. If you do play scrims with a server that has zone rules, then try to do something in the mid game so you don't just waste 20 minutes doing absolutely nothing. You could even play some Kovacs once you're in the zone, waiting until you can start fighting. Only if your PC can handle it though, I don't want you to crash mid game. And only if you know you won't need surge tags. If you're going to need surge, then obviously you want to be active and looking for damage. A good scrim server for EU is Noble Customs, and a good scrim server for NA is Manu Scrims. You can always search up a scrim server for your region if you can't find one on something like Google or Discord itself. And if your region doesn't have scrims, then you can replace scrims with more fighting practice or creative endgame practice, like Forever Zone Wars. Also, if you die early in these scrims, then you can always VOD review how you died whilst you wait for the next code to come out. Any extra time you have, you want to use effectively. And that brings us on to the next part of the video, which is reviewing. You want to be reviewing your games and looking back at the mistakes you make. I also really recommend that you track how you die each game, because these are your weaknesses. So I would look back at how you die, then categorize it into one of the specific elements of Fortnite. Then each time you die because of one of these categories, you put an X or a tick or something next to that category, so you can look back and see what category needs the most work. The categories I'm talking about here are aim, editing, making space, movement, peaks, awareness, the early game, endgame rotates, and confidence. These are the main categories I would focus on. Another way you can VOD review is by VOD reviewing pros. The best way to do this is to look at the top IGL's games and look at the decisions they make and why they made that decision. Then you can try to replicate the strategies they're doing. And that's where I want to tell you about my improvement Discord server. I made a free document that has the best routines for every time limit and the best routines for specific areas. There's multiple routines for each time limit, from 1 to 8 hours, and it's fully customizable, so you can pick the routine that suits you best and then customize it to you. This document is in my Discord server for completely free. The link is in the description. And no, it's not just any improvement Discord server. The stuff I put in my Discord is either methods used by pros or methods used by coaches and people that know what they're talking about. And all the information gets updated whenever it needs to. The Pro Reality has everything you need to go pro all in one place. So make sure to join. The link is in the description. But if you enjoyed this video, then like the video and subscribe. Also, use code Blexiti in the Fortnite item shop. And don't forget to check out my new free build map that has everything you need. But I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.